What up, guys? It's Scott Ball Showcase coming at you on this Sunday afternoon. Just wanted to do a quick little video. Let me get my computer adjusted right. Doing a quick little video about this latest get for the Vols today, man. This one was fairly well predicted. This flip, this Da'Saahn Brame. Um, I don't know. I guess Oregon threw the money at him there in late June. There's been an article or two released today saying that basically his heart was with the Vols. He knew he wanted to be with the Vols. He had established relationships with GMAC and a couple of the other big time recruits. He spent a little bit of time with Nico. But I think for whatever reason, Oregon made a huge push for this kid back in June. Some reports have suggested, when I say push, I mean some reports suggest they threw the bank at him and basically encouraged him to come to Oregon. Um, but he says he's made a mistake and he really knew where his heart was and he wanted to be in Knoxville. And he just kind of got sucked in with Oregon, what they were offering him there. So anyway, hey, listen, he got a visit in. He got to come this weekend. He got to spend a little bit of time back with I think GMAC was there again this weekend. When I say GMAC, you guys know George McIntyre, which was a 5-star and slid down to a 4-star because of some recruiting crap. um, anyhow, but he spent a little bit of time with Nico, not this weekend, but with Nico in the past and some other athletes. Douglas, yeah, I forget how you say his name. Um, but anyhow, it was enough. It was enough to do it. Heupel lands this kid. This is I'm gonna call it a top 100 kid. I think one of the services has him at 101. Okay, 101. It's still pretty much a top 100 kid. So it's a monkey hair out of the top 100, but big time. I think his rating is uh, he improved our class instantaneously. So we'll say that. I think he's 93 something. 9310, and that one's on 30. So he is highly ranked 4-star. Um, and I was on air yesterday a little bit talking about Lagonza Shady Hayward, man, and such a pickup there. That one was fairly well documented and forecasted too that he was going to choose the Vols. Um, over Georgia, and yeah, I mean, that's even better. Now, Deshaun is from Derby High School in Kansas, and I'll take any of these studs anywhere we can get them in the country. Don't care. But when you can handpick Shady out of Georgia, Travis Smith, I about said Travis Stevens, blast from the past. Travis Smith out of Georgia, not Athens, Atlanta. And that's just fun when you can take a couple away from the dogs and bring them to Knoxville. That's just fun. So this class, man. So on 247, now I don't know which one recruiting services y'all follow. There's several big ones out there. I'm not as much into Rivals, and I don't even look at ESPN anymore because they are so they don't even need to do recruiting services. They are so out of the ballpark. Um, they don't even make sense. They'll have a 5-star guy on every freaking service, and I'm talking like 5-star plus, like Nico, like David Sanders, and then you look at ESPN and he's 4-star, and that is just stupid. So don't, if you even follow ESPN's recruiting services, just quit. It's just stupid. You got to have some consistency in the world of recruiting, and there's things that the big time recruiters and the big scouts and stuff look at, and I don't know, ESPN's out of touch. Whatever. I know ESPN and their SEC deal and all that stuff. That's fine, but when it comes to recruiting services, I pretty much stick with On3 is probably my favorite. 247 is also, it's close. Those two are close. I'll sniff around and look at the Rivals a little bit. but I don't really follow them that close either, because for some reason they seem to be a little bit off as well. Not like ESPN, but they'll be off a little bit. So, but anyway, um, before Shady committed yesterday to the Vols, most services had us down around, what was it, 11. Some places had us around 12, depending on which service you looked at. And Shady commits about this time yesterday afternoon. And so the ones I looked at had us jumped from, right outside the 10, 11, 12 kind of thing, jumped us into like 8. I think maybe somebody had us around 9, had us around 8. So then you're thinking, man, we catapulted instantly with one commitment. We catapulted back in the top 10, which we've been in the top 10. Recruiting's funny, man. So, for people that don't really follow it, I know most people that follow college sports nowadays follow it to a certain extent. But, it's a numbers game. You can only get so many scholarship players. You can only get, there's only so much you can go around. You can only bring so many guys in. And I know Butch Jones was really something about overloading the class and bringing too many guys in. And then I can't even get into that. That gets complicated as to how you can manage to do that. But most of the time nowadays, after, that was several years ago, most teams nowadays are bringing in mid-20s, 24, 25. You'll see some get 26, 27, but, so we now are sitting at 20 commits with the flip. We were at 19 yesterday after Shady committed. Now we're sitting at 20 today. Now, so after this flip from Da'Saahn, we instantly went from like 8-ish or so to top 5. We're sitting at 5, boys, in 247. So how's that? That is exciting. I know I didn't sound excited. I'm really excited. But one reason I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on excitement is because it's a numbers game, and some of the teams around us. Like, for one thing, we catapulted over top of Oklahoma and Texas A&M, and actually, I kind of forget the other team. Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is sitting at 21. So, A&M though, now Oklahoma's 22 commits. So, and we have a higher rating. So Tennessee is sitting at 20 commits with an average score, not score, but ranking, whatever, 91.9, 91.39, so almost 91.4. But the one that kind of concerns me, we jumped Texas A&M, the Aggies. They're sitting there. Actually, their average is 91.58. See, they only have 19 commits. So definitely the Aggies get another commit or two, and they're probably going to jump us again. Because see, there's only 3-point difference. We're 265.29. They're 263.84. So they land even one or definitely two decent 4-stars, and they will jump ahead of us. I'm pretty confident it would. Now, going forward, this what's the kid? Perlotti, is that it? The one that there's some hope that he may flip to the Vols over. I think he's already committed to Georgia, hasn't he? Is that the one? It is, right. So he's a high 4-star. I don't remember where he's rated. Now the ranking I just read you guys, the top 5 was actually 247, and so currently 247. Oh my gosh, my phone just screwed up. I can't see it. Really small for some reason. We got number 1 in the country, Ohio State. 24 commits. Average score of 93.70. I think that's what that says, if I can read it. Yeah. 76. Close enough. Bama, now they got 24 commits at Ohio State. Bama, 21 commits. Average score 94.02. Man, I know you think, well, it's Bama. What's the big surprise there? The big surprise is the most legendary coach in the history of college football, or arguably at least, just retired and hung his hat up. And in slides Kalen DeBoer. Nothing against Kalen DeBoer. I mean, he took Washington to the national championship last year, come up a little bit short with Michael Penix Jr., but I mean, he's, proved. But you at least expect something to drop, something, success, recruiting, at least a little. I'm not saying to fall off the face of the earth here or nothing, but I don't know, man. The board's got them rolling, so he's not gonna miss on recruiting. It doesn't look like at all. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's not always the head coach out there doing the recruiting. I mean, at all. We know that with Tennessee. Um, a lot of your assistant coaches, and depending on the position coaches, and whatever, there's a lot of other coaches that do the recruiting. So it's not just Kalen DeBoer. But anyway, Bama looks like they're going to be here to stay, no matter whether Saban's involved or not. Georgia, right with them at 21 commits and 9309. And then LSU, 18 commits. See, they only got 18. They got the fewest of anybody in the top five. So 18 commits and an average score of 9382. And then us. Okay, so then Tennessee. When I say at Tennessee, so and from LSU number 4 to Tennessee number 5, the score drops from 9382 down to 9139. So that's a little bit. That's a little bit. And the total points is 284, and we're 265. So it would take us a little bit to jump into that top 4. Now, let's talk about that. If we do end up flipping this Perlotti kid, I can't remember how high he ranked. I know he's a good 4-star, but I can't think of how high he is. Obviously, the one everybody's speculating about, and I mentioned it yesterday on here, and I'm going to mention it again, is David Sanders Jr., the number 1, 2 offensive tackle, actually number 2, 3 player in the nation. Doesn't matter what position. And he's the big fish. He's the one everybody's talking about. He's the one we need. He's the one everybody needs. And you take a player like that, that's 5-star plus. That is, if he ends up with the Vols, I read this. I know this without even having to look it up. If he ends up at the Vols, David Sanders Jr. will be the highest rated recruit, even higher than Nico. The second highest rated recruit in Vols history. Okay, now you got to realize, you go back in time, you go back to the Peyton Manning days, you go back in the 90s, and this modern recruiting era didn't exist yet, right? On these points, Bryce Brown, when Kiffin was the coach in, what was it, 2009. He is the only player that scored higher than that. And we all know what happened with Bryce Brown. Kiffin left and took Bryce with him, and whatever, and it ended up being Bryce didn't do much for us. But David Sanders Jr., if he commits to the Vols, will be an instantaneous, huge, literally huge, but a player, impact player. He will play probably as a true freshman, but I mean, I guess. Yeah, because we're going to lose some boys after 2024. So most likely, especially if he could commit early. I mean, not commit, sorry, enroll early and start, like do the January thing. If he don't, he comes in late in the summer and whatever, like, kids do sometimes. Now, I'm not sure if he would start or not. We'll see. Now, we're talking about 25, right? So, but he would, now Sanders, if he commits, he will instantaneously impact our recruiting class and catapult it up into the top. Well, we're in the top 5 for now. We land Sanders, you're going to be knocking on the door of. It's going to be hard for us to reach top 3. And even if we do, I don't know that we'll stay there, unfortunately, because of some of these teams like LSU that has 18, Texas A&M that has 19. I'm looking at the other teams around us. High State, like I said, 24, 21 Bama, 21 Georgia, 21 Notre Dame. Oklahoma's 22. Miami, now they're down at 9. They only have 19. Oregon, for one thing, you got to realize they just lost one with Brame. So they're only at 14 commits and they're ranked top 10. Their average score is 94.06. So Dan Lanning out there, I know he just lost one, but Dan Lanning out there, my goodness, he's on a tear. So they are getting, because they got 2 5 stars, I think, for sure. Yeah, 2 5 stars, 11 4 stars, and 1 3. I think, I swear. Am I wrong? No. Oh, and speaking of 5 stars, glad I mentioned this. Here's what sucks. We all know being a Vols fan, GMAC fell to a 4 star. GMAC was a 5 star, fell to a 4 star because of the Elite 11, whatever thing. He was injured, his thumb was messed up, or his hand, wrist, something in his hand. He couldn't compete, so it really, and a couple other things, whatever, and he dropped to a decent 4 star. I say decent, it's like top 50 kind of, but he fell a little, right? So now it affected our class, and so we lost that coveted 5 star position we had. We are the only team in top 5 that does not have one single 5 star. Alabama's got 5, and that's stupid. That's crazy. Ohio State's got 4, and Georgia's got 2, and LSU's got 3. LSU's got 3 right in front of it. That's why it's going to be a little bit hard for us to. We would have to jump 19 points to catch them, just to catch them at number 4. So I don't know. But we can. I mean, hopefully we can do it. But so Sanders, but Sanders is such a freaking highly rated kid. He's 99, 90 something rather. He's big time. So he would catapult our class up pretty significantly and affect that average. I'm not going to sit here and do the math on it right now, but he would definitely affect it. Um, so anyway, jump in the comments. Let me know what you all think. Now, speaking of Sanders, like I mentioned yesterday, Sanders flew out to Nebraska and had a visit yesterday or yesterday morning, maybe Friday night, yesterday morning, and then flew to Knoxville. Um, and of course, Knoxville, they painted the rock and they welcomed him and all that. But the storyline was that Nebraska showed out, and Nebraska, um, man, the community rallied, and I saw pictures. There was a ton of people waiting to support Sanders' visit. I think he was really overwhelmed that there was that many people there for a high school recruit. I know they want him bad, but the way they rallied together and did that, it was amazing. Tennessee, I mean, we had some people show up, but not like that. So that was a little disappointing. So kind of hope we didn't mess ourselves up there a little bit. I don't think a kid is going to completely commit based on how many people show up to welcome him when he flies in town. I don't think. I mean, yeah, of course that's cool and everything, and you feel like everybody wants you. But when you're as good as David Sanders, everybody wants you anyway. Every town you go to, every school you go to, you're the man. You're going to be the man. Everybody wants you. So I think I will say this: if you don't follow recruiting that well, David Sanders is from Charlotte, North Carolina. So we all know Charlotte to Knoxville is not that far. Do I feel like we stand a better chance of landing him than Lincoln, Nebraska? And I do. I do. I really do. Sometimes I think it gets overlooked that these are still young young kids, not young kids, but young adults, and their family. Now, listen, I mean, he can go wherever he wants. If he wants to go, but there's something to be said for the supporting family with this athlete that wants to go to these games and see him play a lot and make the trip back and forth, his college seasons and everything. And Charlotte to Knoxville is a lot easier to do than Charlotte to Lincoln, Nebraska. Um, Plus, why would you bring your skills to Lincoln, Nebraska? Awkward pause. Uh, kind of don't think there's any Nebraska fans in my audience here, but if there is, I apologize. I'm just joking. But anyway, I do think we sit pretty on this one because of where we're located. Something to be said for the family. It makes it a whole lot easier on mama and everybody else to come see you when you're only a couple hundred miles away. Uh, Talking 1,000 plus, it's pretty tough. So, all right, boys. I got some other stuff I got to go do. I just wanted to do a quick shout out. I'm feeling really good. Hey, before I jump off here, I was gonna look up the ones I was telling you about was 247. Let's look at on three. One second, bear up with me. I'm trying to use my yeah, and it's a little different. So on three had us at well, I don't know. I don't know how to read that on three. It's a little different. Anyway, we're not top five on three. I didn't think we were. We are seven. Um, yeah, on three is a little different. So um, on three, I still got Ohio State, Bama, but they have Georgia four and LSU three, which I can kind of see that from what I'm looking at. It makes a little sense mathematically. Um, and then Oregon five with 14 commits. Can't believe this. And then Clemson, and they only have 15. And then Tennessee. So I don't know. They're quite a bit of difference right now between 247 and on three. Florida State's right behind that. So and they're not that close on the other one. They got Miami and Oregon, all them down there around the top 10. So I don't know. Anyway, peace out. I might look up this Perlotti kid a little bit more and see when they're expecting him to maybe do a flip deal. And if I get news of when that's going to be, whatever, I might jump on here, do a stream, do a live. All right, take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll talk to you later. Go Vols. Go GBO.